April 2020. Millions of people just lost their jobs. People couldn't pay rent, couldn't see their families, couldn't buy toilet paper. And the wealthiest, most famous people on the planet, people who had never once worried about any of those things, decided the moment called for a sing-along. From their mansions, filmed on their iPhones, singing Imagine. The room wasn't just empty. The room had been empty for years. They just didn't know it yet. To understand why that video broke something, you need to understand what it was breaking. For most of the 20th century, celebrity culture was an institution. Not a hobby. An institution. Michael Jackson's worldwide tours didn't just sell out. They caused near riots in parking lots before the show even started.
He is probably the most famous person in the planet, God help him.
The man was so famous that news networks ran special coverage just to track his movements. In the 2000s, the peak U.S. news named Britney Spears, Eminem, and Paris Hilton as the cultural axis of an entire decade. MTV's Cribs averaged millions of viewers per episode. Entertainment Tonight was appointment television. IMDb charted the dominant celebrity of every decade from the 1950s onward. John Wayne, Paul Newman, Robert Redford, Harrison Ford, Tom Cruise, Johnny Depp, Jennifer Lawrence, an unbroken chain of cultural giants. These were not just famous people. They were the organizing principle of mainstream culture. Marketing ran through them. Social movements ran through them. The fashion industry, the music industry, the film industry, all built around a small group of carefully managed human brands. And for a long time it worked, because you only saw what they wanted you to see. It's the glitched system, and this is why celebrity culture was always going to end exactly like this. The system that built celebrity culture was elegant. You needed a production company to make a film, a record label to press an album, a magazine editor to decide your face belonged on a cover. Every step between the celebrity and the public was controlled, filtered, and managed. PR agencies existed for one reason: to make sure you only ever saw the version of a person that worked. And because access was scarce, demand was infinite. Vine launched in 2013 and hit 40 million users before the end of its first year. YouTube was minting micro-celebrities in gaming, comedy, daily vlogs, niches so specific they had no equivalent in traditional media. PewDiePie, Casey Neistat, Ryan Higa. But at this point, the industry wasn't worried. These were YouTube kids. The real celebrities were untouchable. And in fairness to the optimists, there were signs the old system could adapt. Celebrities got social media accounts. They posted. They engaged. Some of them were actually good at it. But the problem with giving celebrities direct access to their audience is that you remove the filter. And without the filter, you got moments like this. I'm grateful for a couple things today. Martin Luther King Jr. and 10 million followers on IG. #MLDay. That's a real post. From a real celebrity. With a real publicist who apparently did not see it before it went live. It's not evil. It's not calculated. It's something arguably worse. It's what happens when someone has been insulated from normal human feedback for so long that they genuinely can't feel the collision anymore. That collision was coming. And then 2008. The recession didn't just crash the housing market. It crashed the cultural contract. Before 2008, celebrity culture was frictionless. People had money, time, and disposable attention. They spent it on gossip magazines, concert tickets, and franchise films. The economic and the aspirational were aligned. The celebrity's job was to be aspirational, and the audience could afford to aspire. After 2008, for the first time, a significant portion of the audience couldn't afford it anymore. Not just financially, emotionally. When you're worried about your mortgage, you have a lot less patience for someone else's mansion. This was the first crack. Barely visible. The industry didn't take it seriously. Most people didn't even name it at the time. But the crack was already there. And the internet was about to pour gasoline into it. The internet did not just compete with celebrity culture. It dismantled the conditions that made it possible. The whole mechanism ran on scarcity. You got a glimpse of a celebrity in a controlled interview. A magazine spread. A red carpet. That scarcity made the glimpse feel valuable. Social media removed the scarcity. Now you could follow your favorite celebrity and watch them post the exact same content as your college roommate. The same oversharing. The same ill-advised opinions. The same gym selfies. The mystery was gone. And once the mystery was gone, the aspiration started going with it.
This is a message for Emma Stone. And if I were a lot younger, I would marry you. And we would have chubby little freckle-faced kids. We'd laugh all day long, go camping and play Yahtzee and tell ghost stories by the fire. And the sex,
worse than ordinary was what came next. Bella Hadid filming herself at a sneaker shop, rating Air Maxes by how much Homeboy is going to get it.
If Homeboy is coming through with these,
Right.
it's quiet. Yeah, no, it's
Right.
quiet for him. But like if he comes through in like these,
Yeah.
you got some Air Maxes out here.
Yeah.
You got some Jordans. Homeboy's gonna like get it.
Adam Levine, a married man, sending Instagram DMs to women that read like they were written by someone who had never once been told no. Zac Efron posting about Martin Luther King Day and his Instagram follower count in the same sentence. With a black heart emoji. These weren't scandals. They were something worse, windows. And what the windows showed was not what the PR had been selling. And then the cringe got expensive. The NFT era turned celebrity culture from parasocial to predatory. Shaq, Floyd Mayweather, Larry David, endorsing tokens they didn't understand to audiences that trusted them in exchange for money they didn't need. Most of them faced no real consequence. Because so many celebrities did it simultaneously, the accountability was diffused. It was like speeding. When everyone's doing it 5 miles over, the cops don't pull you over unless they're bored. But the audience noticed. The audience always notices. They just don't always say it out loud. The cringe had become corruption. But even that wasn't the bottom. And then the files came out. Jeffrey Epstein. The documents. The names. Kevin Spacey. Mick Jagger. Bill Clinton. Names that carried decades of cultural capital, attached to a man who had built a private island to do things the law was very specific about. Woody Allen had married his own stepdaughter. Jerry Seinfeld had dated a 17-year-old at the age of 38. And Leonardo DiCaprio, someone made a chart. A simple bar chart. His age against the age of every woman he'd publicly dated. Not a single one had been older than 25. He's 51 now. This wasn't a scandal. A scandal is one thing going wrong. This was a pattern. Documented. Dated. Named. And the pattern said, there are 2 sets of rules. There always were. And the only reason you didn't know is because the right people controlled the information. That's when the transaction finally collapsed. Fame was always a transaction. The audience gave attention. The celebrity gave aspiration, mystery, and the illusion of excellence. That was the deal. It ran for decades because both sides held up their end. But the internet restructured the terms without anyone's consent. It stripped the mystique. It handed celebrities a microphone they couldn't use without revealing themselves. And it gave the audience a memory that never forgets and never forgives. So the cringe posts came. And the NFT scams came. And the tone-deaf sing-alongs came. And the files came. And with each one, the audience did the math a little faster. The aspiration they were selling had always been manufactured. The mystery they were selling had always been managed. The excellence they were selling had always been selective. And the moment you could see behind the curtain, the moment Zac Efron could post directly to 30 million people without a single adult in the room, the illusion was over. I'm grateful for a couple things today. Martin Luther King Jr. and 10 million followers on IG. #MLDay. That post didn't ruin celebrity culture. It just described it accurately. The metrics and the meaning in the same sentence, totally indistinguishable from each other. That's what the whole machine had become. Celebrity culture didn't die because people stopped caring. It died because celebrities stopped being worth caring about. As always, it's the glitched system. Thank you all for watching today's video. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.